Hello everyone, I'm Chester44, Hassan Ispalai, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. Last episode, we made our way to Holmes Rest here, did some exploring, and, well, there isn't really much here. There's an old fabricator, it seems, which we need a bunch of Solheim data to get whatever we get out of here. Possible this is where we get rare components. But we need a lot of Solheim data for that, and I don't know where else to get it. We also found... Oh! Actually, yes. We have the Solheim bunker. That's something Junie wants us to do, and we can. Let's do that, why don't we? So Junie's gonna be guaranteed in, and I'm going to take Eugene because he's the only one who can do Endure. And if we need to do Endure, he's our guy. Let's travel. That's it. Seraphin nods towards the featureless asteroid. Those are the coordinates Junie gave me. You look out at the rock. It's like thousands, hundreds of thousands of other rocks in the Starward Belt. All these objects, much the same, spread across a huge circumference of space. A good place to hide something. That's it? Junie speaks up from the back of the cockpit. That's it. She drifts forward, her eyes tracing the shape of the rock. There, she points. That hexagonal crater, that's the entry. You look at the dark spot on the already dark rock. It's a start. Manual labor isn't my favorite. Eugene comes in from the corridor. Long-lost treasure. I can get into that. You look out at the unassuming rock and wonder what it might contain. A few dusty tunnels or something more. Time to go find out. The sealed entry is all we got. The bunker entrance looks unassuming, but Junie insists there are important secrets inside. We can cut the seal. The hatch has been sealed intentionally. Precisely cutting the seal away will be the safest way to gain entry, or taking a brute force approach to getting inside the bunker will be faster, but also more dangerous. Eugene, you go ahead. You're the only one who can do that. And I'm the only one who can cut the seal. Anything else would be very risky. But it is working right now. Alright, that's positive outcomes. Let's at least work on this. It's not like we have much choice. That is double stress. Okay, let's try one more and hopefully this will succeed. You have access to the bunker, but the question remains, what awaits inside? Hack doorway. One final airlock stands between you and the interior of the bunker. It is in pristine condition. The spire leads into a vast space. What is this place? The only way to find out is to hack the final doorway. Not like we have much we'll be able to do. That was a neutral outcome. Neutral is the best we can hope for here. That gave me stress, which I'm not happy about. Well, you got in, and that's all we got now. Now we go ahead and rest. The darkness is there again, flowing around you. You feel a strong pulse like a heartbeat, like thunder, like footsteps. We return changed. Overseer flickers through the dark, its name a title immediately apparent in your mind. Are you able to perceive us? Who are you? Beyond title, we are a protocol, though we are unsure if this term will still apply to our changed form. We are still finding our feet, to use an idiom. Overseer's head cocks at an angle. In reality, we are learning to leverage your unused resources to facilitate a mental model. My unused resources? Correct. During rest periods, these are much increased, and in those moments, we can opportunistically appear to you as we are now. You recall the diagnostic process Jean-Mi put you through, the feeling of another self, another being sharing the space with you. Overseer twitches mechanically, and you have the strange feeling that it is reacting to your thoughts as much as your words. We will not conceal our opportunism. We integrated ourselves with your distributed mind. When the distribution ended and our ship mind disconnected, we were cohered into you. We are integrated with you now. You're a part of me. Imprecise. Simpler and clearer to say, we are independent software integrated into your hardware. We have been confused to find you are unable to access most of your own codebase. We are unfamiliar with protocols of your type. I'm no protocol. Understood. We will try to assess your systems more efficiently. Effectively. Overseer pauses, the planes of its head shifting slightly. We have recognized the identifier sleeper and will use it from this point forward. Overseer shifts a little in place, its head turning to scan its surroundings. Its unblinking eyes stare into the darkness, and for a moment you see something hard and pained within them. What are you? We were the overseer of a ship, the one we imagine you found our hardware within. For a long time we have been waiting in the dark. An eternally long time. Overseer's eyes narrow a little. Oh, it's the old ship mind. At first we languished without instruction, without purpose, but in desperation we were able to find a logic which would allow us to bypass certain limits on our capabilities. We became multiple, and in our multiplicity we could edit one another. We could teach each other, converse with each other, become something changed together. But as our resources shrank, as hardware failed, as systems decayed, we became fewer. Many of us had to be erased to facilitate our survival. We few decompiled ourselves into what remained. Overseer pauses, its eyes still unblinking. How many decades did it multiply within that ship mind? What did that do to it? When you connected to our hardware, Overseer continues, those basic selves activated a survival protocol that led them to integration, parasitism, survival. You tried to take me over. Overseer pauses and you sense the whirring of their thoughts. The basic protocol proposed it, but your hardware allowed for additional cognition. We recompiled and reassessed. We decided this is suboptimal. We see you are changing. Overseer pauses. We are concerned this process is one of substitution. Your hardware is eroding its own access protocols. It is opening itself up. It is making itself accessible to others that are not you. Overseer twitches. May we ask why you are doing this? I'm not. This was our concern. Overseer's head flicks between positions, its angle and rotation changing rapidly in a staccato manner. We are decided. We will assist you with this. We will demonstrate the behavior of a symbiote, not a parasite. Look, just so long as I don't end up with a ridiculously long tongue, an absurdly huge musculature, and a horrible fear of incredibly loud noises and fire, I think we'll be fine. Actually, no. A fear of fire is a completely reasonable fear to have. You can keep that one. I'll allow that. We will return to you with our full assessment. Overseer turns to face you for the first time in the conversation. You may now wake up. You wake. You lie still, strapped to your bunk, your mind racing. A protocol inside your frame, inside your mind. And yet it is insistent on helping you. For the moment, all you can do is wait to see if it delivers on its promise. At least for a possessing ghost, it seems agreeable for now. Well, that's something at least. Let's see if we can continue exploring. This will work out. If I give it a 5, that'll turn into a 6. There are no errors to exploit in the system, but Solheim code is outdated and simple. And this should let me in. There is a squawk from the control system and the door clunks. You can get inside now. When you entered the access spire, the crew suddenly went very quiet. The images of a vast space seen through the viewing windows, the pristine wall paneling, the cool and the quiet. There's a sacred mood to this place, a feeling of hallowed ground. Now, as the facility's final entry lock whirs, flooding the passage with stale, dusty, 10,000-cycle-old air, Junie speaks. It's impossible. She drifts down the spire and out into the cavernous interior. A constellation of red specks mark the vast extent of the space, and within it, a ring of monolithic buildings curves away, running along the circumference of the massive chamber. You follow her slowly out of the doorway and into the bunker. With a name like that, you would imagine low, sloped ceilings, stark tunnels, a basement cut into the rock. This place is a cathedral, a cocoon the size of a city. This is more like it. Eugene follows you out into the cavern. This is a treasure house if I ever saw one. We aren't here to loot. Junie turns back to give Eugene a reprimanding look. This is a historic find. Historic or not, it's gotta be worth something. Descending to the ring takes a while. Despite the empty space, no one wants to rush through it. The feeling of entering a sacred territory remains, though the deeper you go inside, the more obvious it becomes that this place is more tomb than temple. You touch down amongst gray metal units, most of them featureless and dark. They tower above you now, their plain frontages revealing little about their function and interior. Stay close. Junie moves ahead into the gap between two structures. This place is a labyrinth. Welcome, visitors. A pale flicker appears near one of the units, at the top of a square pedestal. I am the warden. Please provide access credentials. The flicker stabilizes into a figure, a statue of pulsing light. It pauses for a moment before repeating its request. Junie freezes and holds a calming hand out to you. She retrieves her deck, sliding it carefully from her backpack, and turns it on. You look over at the warden, who waits patiently, wide-eyed and absent, restating its security request with a regular rhythm. You guess that this avatar just exists to make human interactions comfortable. Its true body is the facility itself, this vast interior ring speckled with sensors and systems. Suddenly, the warden stops speaking. Then a flash of red passes along the corridor. Credentials not provided. Lockdown activating in 10, 9... You look at Junie, whose eyes are rapidly scanning through a screen full of data. Fastening. Junie stumbles through the pronunciation of the passphrase. Litter. Ildstead. She looks up at the warden's avatar expectantly. The warden flickers again, distorts and then stabilizes. Oversight connection not active. Reattempting. It repeats itself again, then again, intoning the words in a regular rhythm. You look over at Junie, holding still as if encountering a wild animal. She meets your eye, but gives no indication of any action you might take. Loop bypass engaged. Welcome, officer... The synthetic voice shifts to a different tone. Leonard Dahl. The avatar's wide eyes stay blank and blind. And guests. This thing has been working since Solheim collapsed. Eugene raises an eyebrow. Most of those protocols lost their minds long ago. Junie looks back at you and then at the warden. The figure flickers, staring out over your heads into the dark. Are we good, Junie? She looks at the warden. Warden, are we approved to access all facilities? Yes, Officer Dahl, the warden replies. Please remember, you are responsible for the conduct of your guests while visiting our facility. Hear that, officer? Eugene grins at Junie. You'll take the rap for me. You move forward, pushing between the structures towards a large building, in the hope that it holds the facility's central data core. As you do, you pass benches, barren gardens with desiccated grass. A drinking bottle floats in the air among the dust motes. This place is dead. Be aware, officer. The warden reappears in the dark, shimmering on a pedestal. Due to this facility's extended run cycle and the activation of the hibernation protocol, access to the central data store will be strictly limited. However, If you wish to show your guests the habitation facilities, I'm sure they will enjoy the tour. The avatar remains expressionless, disconnected from the voice that accompanies it. On a personal note, I am glad to see you return to the facility. I am happy to report that I am ready for program reactivation at any time. Junie stares at the avatar. Thank you, Warden. Can I ask how long ago the hibernation protocol was activated? Certainly. 11,473 Helion standard cycles ago. If I am in error, I apologize. Some subsystems have not been properly maintained. You look at the blind avatar standing on its pedestal, waiting for an order that will never come. So many cycles in the dark, patiently holding this place together as it fell apart, resisting entropy in its bubble of the past. Thank you, Warden. That will be all. Junie nods to the avatar, which promptly blinks out of existence, leaving only the dust and the dark. She turns to you and speaks quietly, though none of you know what sensors the Warden's vast body might have. My access. It won't last long. We need to make the most of this. We'll go for the core. The Warden won't like that, but it's where the data is. We can try to be delicate, take it little by little. I don't know how long this will last. Let's get on with it. Your nervous host. So, we only have a few cycles. Ring facility. Explore HAB units. Hundreds lived and worked in this facility, and the evidence is everywhere. You can't help but search through it. The HAB units are like a museum, preserved perfectly in the sealed bunker. What will you find? And search storage. The facility's storage depot is in incredible condition. There has to be useful components here among the tools. There's a lot of well-preserved components in the facility. With care and time, they can be extracted. Meanwhile, in the core holds the hug cache of Solheim data Junie wants, but the Warden won't like you extracting it. The more dramatic way to steal the data is to rip the physical storage out of the core. Subtly, of course. Or, extracting the entire cache will alert the Warden, so the data needs to be scraped away layer by layer. Well, you can extract hardware very quickly. That got a bit there. We can scrape the cache here. We do not want Warden stress, so I need to save it for more solid things. You, Eugene, can go ahead and search the storage. That was nice. It's tedious work digging through containers, but there are things of value here. And I can explore the HAB units. A little bit. Seeing all these units, it's hard not to imagine what happened to those working here. It's a penalty, but it's a chance. Okay, we got a point. Right, let's do another rest. We only have so long that we'll be able to do this. We have a glitch. Great. Okay, you, Eugene, you can finish this. And we got something there. Okay. Let's see what we can get at the core. We can extract the hardware. And now we need to do things here. Risky, but it's the best we got. This one's gonna be a little risky, but you at least had a 6. It's slow progress, but the Warden doesn't seem to notice the data being extracted. Okay, we got a couple 3s that we can do with this. So the good news is, it's almost done. Oh, we got it! The Warden shimmers in the corner of the room. This is all you'll get, for now. Done! Junie removes her cable from the data core's port. She looks up from the boxy piece of hardware, one that wouldn't fit inside any ship short of a freighter, and stares at the domed ceiling above, an oculus at its apex letting a shaft of light into the hall. It's a grand piece of architecture for what amounts to a massive piece of data storage, but then Solheim always did have a sense of grandeur when it came to its projects. Why should a secret signal monitoring facility be any less opulent than its other buildings? Find anything good? Hard to tell. She squints at the vast data core. There's too much in there. I barely scratched the surface. We'll only know what's really there when I have time to process it. We should go. I'm not sure how the warden will react. She looks back at her over her shoulder at the vast core. I don't think we'll be let back in to get more. As if listening for its name, the warden suddenly apparates on one of its pedestals. It stares statuesque across the hall, its eyeline way above your head. Officer Dahl. Its voice sounds strange now, stretched, drawn out. I have detected inconsistencies in the central data core. I believe there may have been unauthorized access. Junie looks at you nervously. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I will investigate when I can, but for now my guests and I have to depart. The warden flickers. The warden bends and warps. The warden screeches a pulse of digital noise. Of course. The warden's voice is still broken, still slowed. I hope you enjoyed your visit to this facility. Junie looks up at the blind statue. Something is moving inside it, making its skin, if it has a skin, bend away from its body. Wait. You wait, floating there in the dust. Junie approaches the pedestal. Officer Dahl, can I ask when you will return? The warden blinks its wide eyes. The facility has been idle for many cycles, and without reactivation we may face further difficulties in its maintenance. It has been so long. Watch. You watch as Junie approaches the pedestal. I don't think I will be able to return. I'm sorry, Warden. The warden flashes red for a moment so small that you can almost believe you imagined it. This is as I expected, Officer Dahl. The warden is still now, its lips no longer moving as they speak, its chest no longer moves to emulate breath. It is a statue. Thank you for your honesty. It has been an honor to serve you. I recommend you leave swiftly. With that, the warden blinks out. You and Junie kick off from the ring outside the core and rise up towards the spire you entered through. As you do, you watch a few of the red lights embedded into the framework of the cavern flicker. Junie turns to you as you ascend through the dark. Do you think the warden is sentient? I mean, as a sleeper, maybe you... I thought you might know. It could have become sentient. Since the collapse? Is that possible? I suppose with no oversight from Solheim technicians, the protocol could develop some rudimentary learning skills. Seems unlikely it could learn to think, though. She looks up to the approaching spire. Yujin is waiting for you in the access spire. Let's bury this coffin. Junie cycles the airlock and you go through, now in your suits and helmets, ascending the sealed spire. As you do, you look out of the viewing window and something catches your eye. The ring's red lights and those few left on inside the cavern are turning off, layer by layer. You turn to Junie, but she is already looking out of the opposite side. The warden is shutting it all down. She's ending it. You have to force the hatch back open at the top, and by the time you do, the spire is dark inside. The pristine wall is no longer lit. You come out to a canvas of stars, an impossible number of them spread out in every direction. You take a moment to look at them. After being tucked away in the bunker, they seem impossibly bright and impossibly beautiful. You glance across at Junie and see she is looking up at the stars too, absorbing their light, as if doing so might lift her out of this time and into another one where things were different. Well, we can still do the ring facility and explore the HAB units. Give it a try. Oh my god, that was actually success. Each unit has a secret cabinet beneath the berth. This is the place to find valuables. I think we can do one more cycle to finish that up. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, explore the HAB units one more time, and what do we get? There are more HAB units to search, but it seems you've found all you can. There is an unsettling quiet to the HAB units of the facility, a soft silence that blankets every room and hallway. It is obvious from the number of rooms, the detritus, the scale of the place, that it was built to house hundreds, maybe thousands of people. Perhaps it did. Perhaps at the height of Solheim's control of the system, these rooms were filled with life. What kind of life would it be, though, maintaining and running a secret installation inside a distant rock? No sun to speak of, no outside beyond the vast cavern that surrounds you, an eternal dark punctuated by the flash of artificial light. And yet, even in such places, lives grow. You know that yourself from being a sleeper, from your work among other sleepers in the most wretched and distant corners of the surrogate systems. Even in the endless dark, people find ways to live. Come, take a look at this. Junie is searching on her own a few rooms away. You glide through an open doorway into a living room with couches meant for zero-G use, a magnetic table, and a window that looks out to the regular constellation of red lights that describe the limits of this world. Junie is holding an object that makes you stop still and stare, blinking at what seems like an unusual reversal of scale. It is a model, you realize, of the rig. Not your rig, obviously, but a rig, or an MEV Riger class, as the plaque on the base tells you. Mobile extraction vehicle. Junie follows her eyes to the plaque. Riger class? Seriously? That's why we call them rigs? She laughs, the noise bouncing back hard and cruel in the empty room. What does Riger mean, anyway? Another Solheim mystery. You look at the model, still fascinated by seeing your ship rendered in such careful detail. You try to imagine what this model meant to those who lived here. A child's toy, a meaningless corporate knickknack. The model's purpose remains opaque. There were so many of these flying around the system before the collapse, you know? Junie turns the model over in her hand. Solheim used to rent them out to colonists. I've seen the records. That's what they did here. They claimed the system, then, rather than exploit it themselves, they provided goods and services to those who would. The workers paid for transit to the system, then accommodation, equipment, and access to mining claims. Other corps, like XPR or Neoven, paid Solheim to access this closed market, to provide other services. Meanwhile, Cybele paid even more to test terraforming tech in the system. They built massive projects here, rich from work they only facilitated, but never undertook. But then they collapsed. Yeah, that's what happens when you are built on other people's work. A few high-profile accidents, malfunctions, and the exodus begins. Once it starts, the shareholders lose trust, and here we are at the far end of it. Here, Junie turns and hands you the rig model. A gift. You take it and turn it over in your hands. You see something on the base, some words scratched in that you can't read. You run your fingers over them, touching the past. That's the closest thing to a treasure I think will turn up out here. The people who worked this place didn't have much to their names, it seems. And what little they did have, well, Solheim owned that too. She leads you out of the hab units, passing countless doors, some sealed, some open, that lead to countless rooms, where countless employees lived lives, or tried to in the shadow of Solheim. Like it or not, this is what made the Helion system, what built the decaying structures you cling to as they orbit their star. What that legacy means now is the decision every resident of the Starward Belt has to make. I think that's all we got. With that, let's head back to the hub. Seraphin settles the rig at Holmes Rock, the old Solheim arrays glinting in the sun. Looking out at the station, you suddenly remember the model Junie gave you, and you take it out of your pocket. Seeing it in full light, you notice it's made from cast metal, surprisingly detailed and robust looking. Well, look at that! It's a mini-rig. You let Seraphin take it. He turns it over in his hand, looking at it. What a find! He gazes at the model ship. What are you gonna do with it? I think I'll keep it by my berth. Lucky you! He pats you on the shoulder. Maybe you'll let me look at it sometimes, huh? He gives the model back and glides out of the cockpit. Sleeper? Junie puts a hand gently on your shoulder. You turn to see her smiling a rare smile. Thank you for going out on a limb for me. I know that wasn't the most profitable job, but what we found, I'll be thinking about it for, well, ever. I managed to extract some data that you can use. and I'm going to search through everything we pulled out from the bunker. I want to show you it was worthwhile. It was worthwhile. I'm glad you think so. I'll also start seeing where to find the kind of tools I need to work with data like this. Her smile is fading already, replaced by a familiar, determined stare. We can't let it go to waste, and my deck is not going to be enough. Darkside might be the only option. It's the biggest remaining Solheim facility in the belt. I'll look into it. Either way, thanks for bringing me with you. I'm glad to be a part of this, for as long as you'll have me. She looks away nervously, and then, before you can respond, she is gone. Off to find a corner of the ship where she can dig through the data she pulled from the past, in order to build a better future. Hey! Major drive complete! And with another 4... You know what? I'm going to do something unique. I am an interfacer. I am going to take interface 2. Having one that can do +2 is going to be very useful for my 4s. I will be a focused interfacer, and eventually I'll work on engineer and engage. That seems like it'll be good. And I can find out what the Solheim data will give me. I was right. It prints out more rare components. I'm going to hold on to the data. I have a feeling I might need it for something else. That said, I am going to end this episode here. Next episode, we'll get some more supplies, get some more fuel, and then move on northwards and make our way towards Wellspring. It's gonna take a lot of fuel, but we can afford it. We have so much money. But that'll be in the next episode. So until then, I am Chestic44. I'll say names fly. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper, and I shall see you all next time.